Waid Harbison, Chairman of the Cullman County Republican Party. I'm here with Andy Coffey. Andy is running for Associate County Commissioner. Andy, we're glad you can be here with us today.
Thank you, Waid. Glad to be here.
Well, if you'll just start out briefly telling everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, Waid, I've been married for 46 years to the same woman. We married back in '72. I have 3 kids. All of them grown with grandchildren. All my kids graduated Cold Springs High School. They all live and work in Cullman County. Got 6 grandyoungins that are coming up in Cullman County. Worked with the Cullman County Road Department 27 years. I retired back in March of last year. And I've been a pastor for about 38 years now. So that's basically where I am.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about how your background qualifies you to run for Associate Commissioner.
Well, I think first is my 27 years with the road department. Most of that had to do with maintenance and road building.
Sure.
So I know what needs to happen to build a road to make it last, and I've been there and done that sort of thing. And I got to thinking about the past commissioners that I've served under.
Sure.
As an employee. Some of them have been funeral home director, radio disc jockey, farmer, school teacher, school principal.
Right.
And none of those guys had all the ideal qualifications for the various responsibilities of commissioner.
Sure.
And so that's where my church, I think, experience comes in. I've administrated, I've financially advised, and I've dealt with people all my life and learned teamwork. And so I think with my road experience and church experience, well qualified.
Sure, absolutely. Well, if you were elected county commissioner, what would be 3 major things you would want to see implemented, assuming you get elected during your first term? What are 3 kind of major things you would want to see?
The first thing I would do is be consistent road maintenance, because
Right.
I've been there, I've done that, I know how important it is. And secondly, it'd be road preparation for those roads we're going to pave.
Right.
I've seen so many roads paved that had to go back and work on the following year, and I need to stop. The second thing, I would set up some kind of yearly or maybe semi-annual meeting or get-together with the various economic agencies,
Sure.
business leaders, industrial leaders for info, you know, what's going on, what we need to do, what can we do to help you.
Right.
The third thing I would do, and I've got this as feedback from my campaign throughout the county, is people want to hear from you.
Sure.
They want you to return their calls, they want you to address their issues, and people want to know that we're concerned about them. So those are the 3 main things.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I think you touched on was kind of the roads. That's one of the major things, of course, that our county commission hears a lot about. Of course, you know, if you got elected, you guys would be in charge of a lot more than that. However, that's just one of the main things people kind of know about. So, you know, what are your ideas or thoughts? And of course, you've worked in the road department for some time about, improving road conditions, how to make the road department work better within the county government.
Like 90%, maybe 95% of the people I've talked to, roads is a major issue.
Sure.
And I think it's a no-brainer that the first thing to be done to avoid waste is just do it right to start with.
Sure.
And whether we pay 5 foot, 5 mile, or 50 mile,
Mm-hmm.
let's prepare it. Let's make sure it's done right. After it's done right, let's do the maintenance. Let's clip the shoulders that are this high, you know, where water's standing on the road.
Right.
Get the water off the road because it's the road's worst enemy. So that's basically what I do to save waste.
Sure, absolutely. Well, kind of going on into that, of course, you'd be over all of the county departments. If you're an associate commissioner, economic development, parks and recreation, roads department, as we've talked about, all these other agencies. Do you see any waste, within the county government that you think that we could cut back on?
Well, anytime you've got a government entity such as the county with 500 or more employees,
Sure.
the probability of waste is very real.
Right.
I can't speak for the other departments because I'm not privy to the information there.
Sure.
Again, mine goes back to paving roads that were not ready to be paved and have to go back and work on them before they should be. So that'd be my primary concern, identifying that and correcting.
Absolutely. Well, another thing I think that Cullman County is doing really, really well right now, the city, the state, is economic development. Job growth has been fantastic. The unemployment rates in Cullman County are down to about 2.3%, which I think is a historic low. So we're doing a really good job on that front. What would you do assuming you're elected? You're in your first 4-year term to continue that.
Well, let me answer that by giving you an example. Brad Pepper was the vice president of Topray. I think he still is. He was asked in 2014 or 13, how come they were doing so well there? And he gave 2 reasons. He said, number one, because of the labor that they were able to tap into the labor force. And he said, secondly, because of community cooperation and communication.
Right.
I read an article about Bill Battle, Toyota's going to locate in that area.
Sure.
And he was asked, well, how did y'all land that company, that plant? And he said that it was years, I think it was, that we maintained friendship and communication with these people.
Absolutely.
Dale Greer talked about Sequence Health, and he said the same thing. He said, because we have community communication. So it's communicating with community leaders, business leaders, and sitting around the table and gaining insight what needs to be done and plan the future of Forsyth.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
It is, and this has to do with my wife, and at the end I'll tell you why it's important to the taxpayer, to the voter. My wife, as many know, went through heart surgery the week after Christmas. Stayed in Princeton about 7.5 days, came home, recovery 2 weeks, had to go back in the hospital because the fluid built up, so recovery process started all over again. And this is important for this reason. I asked her, I said, I call her Babe, I said, Babe, you know, this election is not that important versus your health. Your health is much more important.
Right.
And she said, Andy, let me ask you a question. Did we not pray about this issue? I said, we did. She said, did we not come to the conclusion that this is what the Lord wanted us to do? I said, yes, we did. She said, well, this is what we need to be doing. Now, that's important to the taxpayer and the voter for this reason. I don't have a personal agenda. I'm not mad at anybody. I don't hold any grudges. Our bottom line is we want to know at this stage of our life what the good Lord would have us to do. When you're in Princeton Hospital and my wife faced a couple of life-threatening times, all the other stuff doesn't matter.
Sure.
What people think didn't matter. And so we got to the place that we were able to go on or forget it or whatever we need to do. And I know this is what God wants us to do, to serve Him and serve and the people of Cullman County. Do a good job for them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Andy, and I appreciate you, and good luck on your campaign.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.